there's no such thing as time. It's something that you hear a decent amount in the spiritual community. There's no, which seems like a pretty ridiculous statement to make. So try and put that into, give some context to that maybe, so that it makes more sense. What the neuroscience with what I presented for default mode network, as well as the effects of meditation and psychedelics, is that they relate to the part of the brain that is corresponding with your sense of self, as I've said before, and as well as space-time. So what does that mean exactly? I'm forgetting that. So when you're meditating more, or if you're taking a psychedelic, then it's reducing your experience, or outright eliminating your experience of space-time. So, and then you hear, as I was saying at the beginning of this very sloppy video, and you'll hear in the spiritual community, I think even people like Eckhart Tolle will go as far as to say there is no time. So what does that mean? Obviously, you experience things throughout the day. There is an appearance of change. There's an experience of change, or you get hungry, or you go to sleep, or you go here and you go there, and those things seem to happen. But what really happens is just that there's a sequence. Or there isn't really even a sequence. The brain records these events into its hard drive, which you could call the memory, and then splices them up. And then what you're doing is you're thinking. The thought creates the time. The thought creates past and future, because you're referencing something in your mind, a previous recording of something that's happened. But that didn't happen in some other. That happened now, and this is still now. So there's never actually some other point. It's just a continuation of now that's evolving and changing constantly. And so that this is a tough one. It's a tough one to try and I can see it in my head, in my mind, but putting that into language, because the language itself is creating that separation as well. So that's why you try and have a conversation with people like on mushrooms or something. They barely put a sentence together, because you're trying to it's just difficult. It's a whole kind of a different language almost that you need. But like I was saying, it's always now. There's never a not now. The mind creates points of change, and it creates points of separation within the experience of whatever, the individual that we seem to inhabit. So the mind creates that, and it says, it creates a measurement of time, and it says, well, 5 minutes ago XYZ happened, but it makes it seem like it was something separate. It makes it seem like it was somewhere else, or it's long in the past, but it was now. It's just it was a description that the mind creates, and it's constantly creating that past and future and referencing it again and again and again, saying this happened at this time, that was so far ago, oh, there's a future, what will that be like? What if I'm not, what if something happens? And so it is continuously creating this, or modeling this kind of hypothetical reality that it alone has created in the first place, or referencing itself. But those divisions don't exist in reality. There's not, an animal does not have that understanding of what 10 minutes ago, or, they don't have there is nothing recording that at all. It's just a continuous now. It's not jumping from one thing to the other like the mind does. And so that's what we mean by time. There is no time. It's there is only the now. It's the now changes and forms appear to come and go because our brain is evolved to the point where it separates things in that fashion, just because in order to be a human, you have to use these sort of agreed upon things in practice, but they're not actually there. That's just a mental creation that rises and then falls away, and you're not even aware of it at all. Sometimes if you're sleeping or whatever, you're not even aware of that. So it's not a fixed continuous thing. It's just it's relative to the observer themselves. So when you remove that with either psychedelics or ideally in a natural, permanent way through meditation, then the mind isn't doing that anymore. It's not creating that continual past and future reference point, going over and over and over the same things, that those things themselves, that past and future, necessarily create anxiety and depression, because you're constantly leaving the now to project or model something that doesn't even exist. So it's not real. It's only ever now. It will only ever be now. There's not some other point in the future where you won't be, or life will not be anymore. That doesn't even make sense. That's also what we mean by there's no death. There's forms will change. The consciousness evolves into various, I guess you could say, experiences, and there's not one experience over here and one experience over there. The cloud is having some experience, or the animal is having some experience. We're not all in separate realities. It's just one thing going through. It's just the one substance or substrate that's funneled through various, or appears to be funneled through various separate, in quotes, entities. But those things they just have an apparent reality. There's not anything actually there if you look close enough at it, either scientifically, by looking at the brain for consciousness, or whatever it is that they're doing, or through meditation by just observing yourself to try and find, what is this thing that was born? What is this thing that will die one day? And you can't ever find that, because there isn't one. It's just continual now. It's continual this. And it will take countless infinite forms, and it can do anything. It can be anything. But it will be. It can't not be, because nothing is impossible. As I've said in the book, nothing is impossible is not just a cheesy motivational phrase, but it's just a matter of logic, or basic, whatever those syllogisms, or whatever the hell the word is for it, that A equals B type thing. Nothing is impossible. It cannot. Life has to be. It cannot not be. It can change, and it can morph, and it can become anything. It can do anything. And it is one organic, love or God or whatever you want to call it, which has temporarily confused itself in the human form for a brief period of time, for somewhat specific and understandable reasons in a certain sense. But it's important to understand that is just an illusion. That is just a mental abstraction that we have become lost in, a sort of filter confusion that we've accepted. It was not always the case, and it will not always be the case, and it is up to you if you want to get rid of that or remove that error that is causing the world so much pain. And we're running out of time. You're not going to have much. People are waking up. You're not going to have much more time to play the game of the bullshit